Okay, the current state of the UFC's lightweight division is in shambles, and I mean, it's no secret. Pole MMA has it listed here perfectly on Instagram. Like, Armin Sarukian, the UFC's not willing to give him a title shot right away after he, pulled out. And Ilia Topuria, well, in his case, Islam doesn't want to fight him. Oliveira is 1-1 in his last two fights. Gaethje is 1-1 in his last two fights. Poirier just lost to Islam. Holloway just lost to Poirier. Damn right. And you know what else is the problem? Like, what's listed on here is Islam Makhachev has allegedly, or actually no, officially turned down Ilia Topuria. It is said that Islam's team revealed, so this actually is official, they didn't agree to fight Ilia because Islam wants Ilia to win at 155 first, which isn't an unreasonable ask. I know he wants Topuria to actually establish himself as a legitimate lightweight threat before fighting him and potentially beating him because he's over, fighting these guys moving up and then winning and then having people paint this narrative that, you've only beaten lightweights. But then this kind of leads to another problem because Charles Oliveira will not fight Ilia. He said, according to Chael Sonnen, I mean, who knows what Chael Sonnen, or who knows if Chael's telling the truth. A lot of the things that come out of Chael P. Sonnen's mouth are kind of lies, so he might be full of crap in this one. But if he's not, I mean, this is what Chael said Oliveira had to say. I will only fight Ilia Topuria I will only fight Ilia Topuria if he wins the belt. This guy is all talk. If he wants to fight me, he needs to come up, get the belt, put the belt on the line, and I'll take him on. Okay, that actually does kind of sound like something that Charles Oliveira would in fact say. And this kind of contradicts Islam's demands. Islam wants Ilia to fight a contender, fair enough. But one of the contenders wants Ilia to fight for the belt and win it if this contender, Oliveira, is going to fight Topuria. But then that's not the only issue. Gaethje has been asking for a title shot, okay? Justin Gaethje wants a title shot. Dana White's saying that he might get a title shot. Some fans are asking for it, which literally makes no freaking sense. Why would you give Justin Gaethje a title shot? Oliveira is more deserving than Gaethje, even though both are 1-1 in their last two fights. At least Oliveira is literally ranked higher. He was already booked to rematch Islam before. Got kind of screwed over when they didn't reschedule it. They made him, have to fight Armin, only for Armin to win, but then not even show up to the Islam fight. So based off that, Oliveira should be getting the next shot. But I get it, the UFC's not invested in giving someone who got dominated by Islam a rematch. But why Gaethje? He's literally been submitted in every single UFC title fight this guy's been in. Had a title fight against Khabib, choked, literally and figuratively, okay? He crapped the bed, terrible performance against Khabib, and got subbed inside 2 rounds against Oliveira. Got pressure cooked, got dropped and subbed in the first round. Do you guys really think that if he fights Islam Makhachev, he's going to do any better than he did against Charles? That he's going to do any better than he did against Khabib? That he's going to do any better than Poirier? That he's going to have a better outcome than Dustin? And here's the thing, Justin Gaethje, even though he did beat Poirier in the rematch, he's still kind of like Dustin Poirier's little brother in a way. Because Poirier did beat him. I kind of thought Gaethje's win over him was a fluke. And it's like Poirier will fight for the belt first, and then Gaethje follows him next to fight that same champion, only to do worse, to perform worse, and lose easier and quicker. Dustin Poirier lasted 3 rounds against Khabib. Gaethje only could last 2 rounds. Dustin Poirier lasted 3 rounds against Oliveira and actually fought a way better fight and didn't choke. I mean, he got choked, but performance-wise, he didn't choke. He actually fought very well against Oliveira. But Gaethje couldn't even last more than a round. So how do you expect me to believe, given Gaethje's title fight history, that he's going to go out there and defeat Islam Makhachev? I don't want to hear the, oh, he's got a background in collegiate wrestling, so he can stop Islam's takedowns, and he's a better striker with a power advantage. We literally said the same thing going into the Khabib fight. Well, I'm not going to say we, because I picked Khabib, but a lot of people saw Gaethje as a threat to Khabib because of his wrestling background. They thought he could stop the takedowns and then win on the feet and knock Khabib out, which none happened. He couldn't defend the takedowns, and as long as they were on the feet, he got outstruck, he got pressure cooked. His power meant nothing. Okay? And then even against Oliveira, I mean, Oliveira didn't really wrestle him, but still, he got knocked down, he got outstruck, and he got submitted. Islam Makhachev, better striker than Oliveira, I believe. Oliveira outstruck Gaethje. You mean to tell me that Islam Makhachev cannot hold his own on the feet with Gaethje? Islam has power. You mean to tell me that Islam can't clock Gaethje good if he lands clean? You mean to tell me Islam can't drop Gaethje? You mean to tell me Islam can't outstrike him and outgrapple him? Islam is so much better everywhere. He is a pound for pound all-time great, pound for pound number one. Horrible stylistic matchup. Gaethje is not winning that fight. Gaethje needs to at least win one more fight if I'm going to see him fight for the title. And the fight to make for Justin Gaethje next should be Dan Hooker. I've been saying they need to rerun that fight, reschedule it. And I think Islam should just fight Ilya. I think that's the only fight you can make for Ilya when he moves up to the lightweight division, because he is a former featherweight champion, and his goal was to always chase double champ status. So I think, why not just make Islam versus Ilia Topuria? You gotta make that fight. That is the only thing that's gonna fix this mess. And then you should do Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan 2, 5 rounds this time. And then Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway 3. I mean, that's what the UFC is already talking about, according to Beneil, right? Or another thing you could do is maybe Ilya should suck it up and actually fight Arman, because Ilya said he's not willing to fight Tsarukyan. He should be willing to fight him because he's the number one guy. And if he beats the number one contender on a winning streak who was supposed to fight Islam, boom, that's going to entice Islam. And then in that case, I don't know what you do with Oliveira. I mean, maybe you do the Max Holloway fight that I've actually been calling for. And then Gaethje can fight Dustin. And then Dan Hooker could maybe fight the winner of Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. If Chandler beats Pimblett, there's an opportunity for Dan Hooker to get his get back against Chandler, or to derail a hype train in Paddy Pimblett. I think that's how you kind of solve this whole lightweight mess right now. Is if you don't give Ilya the title shot, like I said, he's got to fight Arman. Charles Oliveira has to fight Max. Poirier and Gaethje got to fight for a third time. And then Dan's got to fight the winner of Pimblett versus Chandler. But the first option, like I said, is you can just literally do everything in your power to convince Islam. If you're the UFC, you got to do everything in your power to negotiate, convince Islam to take the Ilya fight, and then you do Oliveira Arman 2, Gaethje versus Hooker, Max versus Poirier. It's one way or the other, but these lightweights, they got to get it together, man. This lightweight division, the state of the lightweight division, it cannot stay this way forever. It cannot be in this rut forever. Somebody's got to do something. Somebody's got to be willing to take a fight with somebody. One of these contenders has to be willing to fight Ilia Topuria. One of these guys has to put their name in the hat and say, if Islam will not fight you, I will fight you. Whether that's Tsarukyan, whether that's Oliveira, who already said he won't do it, whether it's even Justin Gaethje, or maybe Dan, not Max, he just beat Max, or Dustin. And actually, this is kind of perfect, because Dustin Poirier said he wants to fight Ilya, and if Islam really wants Ilya to fight a contender, I mean, what better opponent than Poirier? Even though this is Poirier on his final fight, it would really be a stain on Ilya's record if he were to lose to a man on his way out of the sport. But still, man, if Ilya can go out there and he takes the risk and it pays off and he beats Dustin Poirier, a former interim champion, a longtime top contender and staple of the lightweight division, that's another win that can also entice Islam Makhachev. But hopefully, man, the UFC, they figure something out with this division, because right now, lightweight is not in a good place. With that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe, and peace out. And Islam, please just take the Ilya Topuria fight. You'll make things so much easier for all of us.